whose bodies were discovered buried at Shakahola Forest in Kilifi. Speaking during the prison officers' pass-out parade on Monday, the head of state likened the pastor to a terrorist for ordering Kenyans to do acts contrary to the tenets of the Constitution. The president therefore directed security agencies, including the Directorate of Criminal Investigations (DCI), to carry out thorough investigations against pastors abusing their place in religion to commit heinous acts.
During Thanksgiving prayers for the ongoing rains, the men of cloth said churches such as the Good News International Church, led by controversial pastor Paul Mackenzie, thrived on misleading the faithful and ought to be closed. They condemned Mackenzie of departing from the rabbinical teachings and misleading his congregants to starve to death.
It is here that Cherorot took a swipe at the protest called by the Azimio team, saying they had a negative impact on the country's ailing economy.
Hapa tumeona katika taifa letu kumekuwa na maandamano, na juzi katika parliament tulipitisha, na hata sisi watu wa Kenya Kwanza tukatoa wale ambao watatuwakilisha katika bipartisan, na pia Azimio walipata kutoa watu wao wapata kufanya kazi. Na hao wamekutana, anashukuru maana walikutana juzi na wameongea.
He called upon the Azimio supporters to ignore the calls for protest and instead direct their energies in building the economy.
Jambo tu ambalo ningependa kusema hivyo wa Kenya ni kwamba maandamano haitasaidia taifa lolote. Tunaangalia ama tunaona mambo katika kule Sudan ambayo yanatendeka, na tunashukuru wa Kenya kwa sababu ya kudumisha.
He further stated President William Ruto's commitment to lower the cost of living and deal with massive debts that were left by the previous regime.
A section of Nyandarua County leaders has pledged to work together to realize regional development. During a Thanksgiving ceremony in Olkalau, the leaders attributed the county's slow progress to ceaseless political and leadership woes. Led by Nyandarua Governor Ndiragu Kiarie Badilisha, the politicians resolved to shelve their differences to achieve the county's development agenda.
Speaking in Rutara Village Olkalu constituency during a Thanksgiving ceremony of Kanjuiri Ridge, ward member of County Assembly Thuo Gashino, a section of leaders said that it is only by working together, regardless of party affiliations, that the region's development will prosper. Nyandarua Governor Ndirangu Kiarie Badilisha urged the politicians to work with the government of the day to ensure development is realized for the people of Nyandarua. On his part, Nyandarua Senator John Methu lauded the government's allocation of funds to counties, urging the regional chiefs to prudently use the resources given and ensure development at the grassroots. According to Methu, the government fully supports devolution.
The government has assured parents and all education stakeholders of safety of pupils who are set to take part in this year's music and drama festivals in the county of Mombasa. The festival themed Fostering Digital Transformation through Theatre and Film is set to attract participants from more than 500 schools drawn from different parts of the country.
Speaking at Shimolatewa Secondary School in Shanzu, Mombasa County, the Kenya Drama and Music Festival Executive Secretary James Indimoli said that parents have no cause to worry as security has been tightened.
I would like to assure the parents, wherever you are, that your children are safe. In terms of security, we have the county commandant of police is in charge of the security of the students. We have policemen stationed at all venues.
The 61st Music and Drama Festival comes at a time when a paradigm shift is being implemented from theoretical aspects to physical and talent-oriented curriculum.
We are looking at a future that is fully digital, and therefore that is what informs our coming up with a theme fostering digital transformation through theatre and film. That the potential of learners is not just hidden in academia, that we have got the abilities that God has given us different abilities. There are those who are talented in football, in drama, in the arts, that's it. And of course, there are those who are talented in academics.
This year's edition is set to attract performances which range from singing games, the choral and the solo, different plays, modern dances, cultural creatives, comedy, narrations, as well as spoken words. Frederick Parsayo, Lunchtime News.
And on that bit by Parsayo, we are taking a short commercial break. We'll be back with more news, including ones making headlines in the world of business and sports. Stay with us.
Nilikuwa na njiwa wangu lakini akaniudhi. Tulipanga afike njiwa wangu hakuja we. Rudi porini sasa ndege sina njaa nawe maisha. You are watching Grapevine, KBC Channel 1.
Femi One, the super successful award-winning rapper, has just released her highly anticipated EP titled Dame Toka Mweke. The EP, which features 9 tracks, showcases Femi One's unique style and sound and promises to be a hit among her fans and music lovers as well. The night, however, belonged to one man, the main course of the evening, Savara. He changed the evening's atmosphere by his energetic style of performance of hits from his solo album Savage Level and fan favorites from Sauti Soul.
Get out right now, or I will shoot you. This marriage won't take place. You two are not gonna get married.
But while this woman is still here, tell her to respect you. Because when I arrived, I saw her in a very compromising situation with another man. That guy that came to see you.
With Al-Hore?
Yes, Daddy. I saw them.
Well, Corina, I wish with all my heart that this mystery man of yours truly loves you just the way you deserve. Oh, he loves me.
If I were you, I would do the impossible to find this document. Try it. It's good for you.
Tell him I will. I'll look for it. I'll give it to him.
And you, as my wife, you have to tell me the truth.
Oligario! Oligario! What's wrong? Oligario!
Get out right now, or I will shoot you. This marriage won't take place. You two are not gonna get married.
But while this woman is still here, tell her to respect you. Because when I arrived, I saw her in a very compromising situation with another man. That guy that came to see you.
With Al-Hore?
Yes, Daddy. I saw them.
Well, Corina, I wish with all my heart that this mystery man of yours truly loves you just the way you deserve. Oh, he loves me.
If I were you, I would do the impossible to find this document. Try it. It's good for you.
Tell him I will. I'll look for it. I'll give it to him.
And you, as my wife, you have to tell me the truth.
And music lovers as well. The night, however, belonged to one man, the main course of the evening, Savara. changed the evening's atmosphere by his energetic style of performance of hits from his solo album Savage Level and fan favorites from Sauti Soul.
Get out right now, or I will shoot you. This marriage won't take place. You two are not gonna get married.
But while this woman is still here, tell her to respect you. Because when I arrived, I saw her in a very compromising situation with another man. That guy that came to see you.
With Al-Hore?
Yes, Daddy. I saw them.
Well, Corina, I wish with all my heart that this mystery man of yours truly loves you just the way you deserve.
Oh, he loves me.
If I were you, I would do the impossible to find this document. Try it. It's good for you.
Tell him I will. I'll look for it. I'll give it to him.
And you, as my wife, you have to tell me the truth.
Oligario! Oligario! What's wrong? Oligario!
Get out right now, or I will shoot you. This marriage won't take place. You two are not gonna get married.
But while this woman is still here, tell her to respect you. Because when I arrived, I saw her in a very compromising situation with another man. That guy that came to see you.
With Al-Hore?
Yes, Daddy. I saw them.
Well, Corina, I wish with all my heart that this mystery man of yours truly loves you just the way you deserve.
Oh, he loves me.
If I were you, I would do the impossible to find this document. Try it. It's good for you.
Tell him I will. I'll look for it. I'll give it to him.
And you, as my wife, you have to tell me the truth.
Welcome back. You're watching the Lunchtime News. Now we are crossing over to Ruiru in the county of Kiambu. This afternoon, President William Ruto broke his silence over the Shakahola massacre and says the perpetrators should be jailed. My colleague Timothy Kipnusu has been with the president for the better part of the morning hours to this afternoon. Kipnusu, what updates do you have for us this as the president attended the passing out parade ceremony in Ruiru? Good afternoon, Kipnusu.
A very good afternoon to you, Irene Muchuma Odim, there at the Broadcasting House in Nairobi. Yes, indeed, I'm coming to you live from a prison staff training college in Ruiru, where just an hour ago, President William Samoei Arap Ruto, is the Commander-in-Chief of Kenya Defence Forces, has presided over the pass-out parade of 222 cadet officers, 84 women and 134 men. A very auspicious occasion indeed, just to ensure that the prisons in this country takes to another level in ensuring that we as a country, we are ensuring that we are at the level of the international nations. And perhaps also to shed more light, I'm joined by the Correctional Services Principal Secretary, that is Mary Mudhoni Murioki, just to paint a picture of today's event. Many thanks indeed for sparing your time to talk to KBC Channel 1. You're live at KBC. Perhaps what's your message to the graduates who have graduated this day, bearing in mind they are graduating at the backdrop of very many issues that are happening in Kenya, and of course the issue that the President himself talked about, improving the prisons in this country?
Thank you very much. And first to say that we are very excited, and congratulations to all graduates. And my message to them is nothing replaces hard work. And I think it is through hard work that they have been able to be where they are. Today, His Excellency the President has commissioned 222 graduates, cadets, who are from various professionals, from doctors, dentists, teachers, any other professional that you would think of. And we are very excited because this is a team that is going to help us roll a lot of programs on the ground, and also ensure that they fit in the professional spaces. We have schools in prisons, in our prison service. We have clinics, and we actually have a level 4 hospital here that is coming up, and we will be commissioned later on in the year. Therefore, this is a very auspicious occasion, and we feel that the hard work that has been put by the teams from the stations and the directors at the headquarters has paid fruit.
President talked about ensuring that there are no congestions in prison, because that has been the case in many prisons in the country, and talking about collaborating with the office of course, the judiciary and Attorney General. Perhaps shed more light about that.
Yeah. The issue of congestion in our prisons, of course, is going to be a sort of a tripartite engagement, where we will have to engage other stakeholders. The judiciary has to play a part. The AG has to play a part in all this. And already the judiciary is working with us through the community service orders. We have the CSO judge who is going around the country reviewing cases for the petty offenders and ensuring that we are releasing them to the community. And one of the key activities that these people are engaged in is planting of trees. As you have heard in the speech, we have planted close to 500,000 trees across the country, and that is an indication that we can even do more if we release these people to the community and they do this work. So that is ongoing, and we will be happy with the AG's office coming on board, where POMAC is involved, the power of mercy, so that they are able to also see how they can have some of the prisoners probably released through the power of mercy.
President also commissioned the Wareri Kireri Memorial Hospital in honor of the first female commandant in this particular institution. And of course, talking about improving the institution in terms of health, having facilities that will take care of even the inmates and of course the prison officers. Perhaps is it a step in the right direction?
Well, this is a step in the right direction, but just a point of correction that the hospital is still not commissioned because it is still in the construction stage. So we shall invite the president later when it has all the equipment and it is fully furnished for operations. That is when we shall probably invite the president so that he can commission the hospital. However, a level 4 hospital of its kind is one of that we have all yearned for. Our officers will be in a better position, their families and possibly other people around. So and a healthcare institution is one that everybody looks up to, that whatever sort of disease you can be able to be administered at that particular level, other than we have our officers moving around in guns and going to other hospitals, then we will be happy to have one that where they can be attended.
Lastly, PS, perhaps talk about the issue of mental health, because there are so many cases of officers committing suicide. Have you rolled out plans or initiatives where there is an opportunity to talk to the officers, bearing in mind it has happened in the KDF and of course here in the prison officer? Perhaps your message also to such people?
Well, yes, and you cannot continue doing things the way you have done it before and you expect different results, and that is why His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya has set up a task force to give us recommendations on how different we can sort these issues, how we can handle these issues amongst our officers' fatigue, and I believe other than what we are already doing, there could be newer ways that we will be able to handle this within our institution for the better of this country and for the better of the officers that are holding a very, very critical role and holding inmates of all sorts of levels, both violent and mild ones. So therefore, sometimes it's in the line of duty that maybe the officers get affected, and through the task force that is there, we have already remitted our proposals around it, whether it is on budgetary implication that we may have to add into that particular voted, then that is the way we will go, depending on the recommendations that we will be given. And again, also, particularly, you have heard the president talk about the prison enterprise fund, the prison enterprise, and prison farms, whereby we are working into mechanizing the farms and ensuring that we are modernizing our equipment in the enterprises, in the industries. That again, you see, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Therefore, with the cadets that are in place being professionals, they are going to assist us, even engage other officers into getting trained into some of these areas, either in the farm, learning on the new ways of farming, through drip irrigation, and also learning newer ways and better ways, rehabilitative programs that can help both our inmates and the officers.
You're parting short. I know the Commissioner General of Police is here, J.K. Warioba, and of course Florence Omondi of prisons. You're parting short because this role directly involves, it's about his docket and stuff. What is your message to them, and of course improving prison in Kenya?
We are working as one, and what we are doing at Correctional Services Department, that includes prisons and probation, we are moving decisions from the table into action. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There you have it, Muchuma. That is Correctional Services Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni Muriuki, together with the Commissioner General of Police J.K. Warioba, or prison rather, John K. Warioba, and of course Florence Omondi, who is the deputy, among others, just shedding more light about this very important and auspicious occasion where President William Samara Ruto has presided over the pass-out parade of 222 cadet officers. Though more important to note is ensuring that there are no congestion anymore at the prisons in Kenya, ensuring that the petty offenders are released so that the prisons, we cannot experience what we saw just the other day of the diseases like cholera, the outbreak rather. And from me, Timothy Kipnusu, of course, I'll be able to have a comprehensive report of what happened today. I hand you back to studio, Irene Muchuma.
Thank you, Kipnusu. Always good to have you. Now, it is from this event that Kipnusu is attending still this afternoon that President William Ruto called for the prosecution of controversial Pastor Paul Mackenzie. We are taking a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hii ya kibeti, bonyeza *811*962#.
Aje umefanya vizuri sana kunifikia hii simu sasa. Nimekuwa na stress kutoka asubuhi kabisa. Na ni huyu mtu ambaye alikuwa anapatiana majina ya vitu. Kwani hakutufikiria sisi watu wa Eastern Ukambani? Ni nani alisema ati wife kwa Kiswahili ni mke? Na akasema ati handbaka. Hii inabebwa na mwanamke handbaka. Ati kwa Kiswahili ni kibeti. Huku kwetu mke Ndiye Kibeti.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hiyo ya Kibeti, bonyeza star 811 star 962 hash. Star 811 star 962 hash.
I guess Charlene is coming back. Didn't she say she'd be gone a few days? Wait a minute.
Wow.
Aren't you...
Your face.
I
haven't seen you without makeup for a while.
Huh? Hey, it's morning. Wake up. It's morning now. What time is it right now?
What's the matter?
Vivian, you really tricked me. You know that.
Whatever has happened, dear?
Only 21 days. We're counting down the days until you can come back to help us out here. If you fail again, not only will Immortal be closed, but your team members will be labeled as unfit employees. They won't be able to find good jobs later.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching the Lunchtime News. To our top focus this afternoon, President William Ruto has called for the prosecution of controversial Pastor Paul Mackenzie over the deaths of several of his followers whose bodies were discovered buried at Shakahola Forest in Kilifi. Speaking during the prison officers' pass-out parade on Monday, the head of state likened the pastor to a terrorist for ordering Kenyans to do acts contrary to the tenets of the Constitution. The president therefore directed security agencies, including the Directorate of Criminal Investigations (DCI), to carry out thorough investigations against pastors abusing their place in religion to commit heinous acts.
We must, as a nation, continuously look out for those who want to abuse even the religious sector. People who are masquerading as religious people, yet what they do is contrary to the teachings and to the beliefs of religion, whether they are Christians, Muslim, or indeed any other religion. What we are seeing in Kilifi, in Shakahola, is akin to terrorists. There is no difference between Mr. Mackenzie, who pretends and postures as a pastor, when in fact he is a terrible criminal. Terrorists use religion to advance their heinous acts. People like Mr. Mackenzie are using religion to do exactly the same thing. I want to say that the government of Kenya and I have instructed the agencies responsible to take up the matter and to get to the root cause and to the bottom of the activities of religious or people who want to use religion to advance weird, unacceptable ideology in the Republic of Kenya.
The Association of Real Estate is calling for the digitization of services in all land registries in the country in a bid to address rampant cases of fraud in the sector. The association chair, Dominic Thuku, admitted that thousands of people have lost billions after being defrauded by unscrupulous traders. They have called on the Department of Lands to digitize land records to avert such losses in the future.
Digitization, I think, and we are hoping it will bring some of these solutions that we are looking.
As an association, we have a disciplinary committee that will vet and subsequently deregister those members found to be involved in malpractices and hand over the findings of a committee to the relevant authority for legal action.
Time for Channel 1 Business News. Auditor General Nancy Gathungu says weak operational frameworks in public institutions and regulated asset declaration systems, as well as loopholes in tax filing and declaration, are some of the gaps being exploited for illicit financial flows. Here now are the details of this and more from Hibak's side.
Africa has the highest sum of money lost in illicit financial flows, summing up to more than $88 billion annually. This is more than a third of the continent's gross domestic product. Auditor generals from the continent say this is mostly lost to corruption due to poorly regulated projects.
4 counties of Kirinyaga, Embu, Tharaka Nithi and Meru have formed an economic bloc that will see each devolved unit supported to implement an economic activity that it has a comparative advantage. Here now is our reporter Nduta Mokami with the details.
Four Mount Kenya East counties, namely Tharaka, is emergency response.
Kenya and 19 other countries have agreed to conduct a regional illicit financial flows audit, where implemented strategies are meant to curb the amount of money lost in a majority of stalled and phantom projects, and that would streamline the approach taken within the region when conducting audits in public institutions. The Auditor General says regulations and policies also limit the scope of the office, where the Auditor Generals in many cases can only give recommendations that are often ignored.
And if we have that, then we won't have people going out of the system to respond to that. We won't have corruption taking place or funds getting lost or being wasted because the public financial management system will be strengthened enough.
They say the emerging trend points to the most funds going missing during crisis situations where revenue filing, declaration and follow-up is limited.
AfroSci provides regional response in common to challenges, calls for joint efforts to address common challenges that the continent is facing. The coordinated audit is one of the key actions that provides supreme audit institutions with the opportunity to put their knowledge together on specific issues that transcend countries' boundaries and affect the whole region.
How much did we lose during COVID? How much do we lose during crisis? And because corruption and illicit financial flows is sometimes very difficult, not only to audit but to investigate, a lot of funds were lost during responses to COVID, especially through the relief packages, through the procurement of commodities. We lost quite a lot of funds.
Furthermore, they say disjointed efforts from relevant bodies presents loopholes for illicit financial flows that brings irregularities when holding institutions and individuals accountable.
We know we have a lot of illicit financial flows out of Africa, and there are illicit financial flows within other countries that are receiving or that are hiding or assisting in hiding these funds. So the comment was, if these countries that are keeping these funds were also called out to discourage the flows from going there so that people have nowhere to hide, then we may be able to contain the illicit financial flows.
The agreed upon strategies will come into effect after consultations through regional governments and policy changes meant to change diplomatic views on illicit financial flows. Hibak Said for Lunchtime News.
4 counties of Kirinyaga, Embu, Tharaka Nithi and Meru have formed an economic bloc that will see each devolved unit supported to implement an economic activity that it has a comparative advantage. Here now is our reporter Nduta Mokami with the details.
Four Mount Kenya East counties, namely Tharaka Nithi, Meru, Kirinyaga and Embu, have resolved to work closely in economic empowerment of their areas. Under the deal signed by governors of the 4 devolved units, officials will each identify a mega project for each county and focused supported accorded to it for implementation.
We are working on a bridge katikati ya Kanyombora na Bwadele inaitwa Itugururu so that our people can do trade together.
Among the key projects the governors will implement include the construction of county agricultural aggregation and industrial parks,
to foster trade and productivity.
We are a very good delegation with the governor, a delegation which is looking at efforts of ensuring we have dams in Lamu County.
The leaders also committed to realize more development projects and cohesion.
If there is anything which we need to do as leaders, first and foremost, is to ensure Lamu County is united. We are talking in one voice.
Ndutamo Kami for Lunchtime News.
Across the borders, but still in the business world, U.S. retail giant Bed Bath and Beyond has filed for bankruptcy protection in the U.S. The company says it will implement an orderly wind down of its business and close 475 of its remaining stores by the end of June. Here are more details on this and other stories making headlines across the globe.
U.S. retail giant Bed Bath & Beyond last month announced that it will sell $300 million worth of its shares and warned that it might have to file for bankruptcy if the popular destination for household goods has struggled to keep up with the rise of online shopping. It stated that it was seeking buyers for some or all of its assets. Bed Bath & Beyond has now filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection and postponed its obligation to its creditors, giving it time to reorganize its debts and sell parts of the business. Notices on the Bed Bath & Beyond and Bye Bye Baby website say the stores remain open to serve you without offering a timeline for when services will cease. Meanwhile, Switzerland-based investment bank Credit Suisse says 61.2 billion Swiss franc left the bank in the first 3 months of this year, triggering its state-backed rescue in March. The announcement gives an insight into the scale of the bank run that caused the 167-year-old lender to fail. Credit Suisse clients started pulling money out of the bank after it was caught up in the market turmoil that followed the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank in the US in March. Switzerland put together a rescue package for Credit Suisse. It included more than 200 billion francs of financial guarantees and saw UBS investment company agree to take over Credit Suisse. Finally, China has made a major push in its ambitious digital yuan project. Public sector workers in an eastern Chinese city are said to be paid fully in digital yuan as the country makes a significant push to popularize the currency. Changshu will start the new payment process in May. According to an official document widely posted on government websites, China is already on the verge of becoming a cashless society, but the vast majority of electronic transactions happen on privately owned apps, Alipay and WeChat Pay. The world's second largest economy has been trailing the digital yuan in Chinese cities since 2020, as it prepares for a national rollout that could put China ahead of Europe and the United States in the global race to develop a backstate digital currency, which is also known as central bank digital currency.
Independent power producers generating electricity using fuel are seeking the government's approval to start importing fuel jointly. The independent power producers told the Senate Standing Committee on Energy that the 5 farms operating thermal plants have initiated talks to procure fuel from the international markets in bulk to get the economies of scale.
We are the community to consult them directly.
But I want to correct an impression, if you allow me. I don't think that the high cost of electricity is because of the IPPs. A high cost of electricity is because of a number of factors that have conspired, unfortunately, against economies. We've seen highest cost of fuel oil than we ever saw before. We saw a ton of HF4, which is a primary fuel, hit almost $1,000 a ton in this period of pain. And if you look back to, let's say, when some of these plants came to being, we've seen cost of HF4 at $350 per ton. So it's huge escalation. Now, we say that fuel is a pass-through cost. And that pass-through cost, it means as we get it, so it's passed through to the consumer.
Tanzania's economy is expected to grow by 5.6%. It will be the third fastest growing economy in Africa for this year. The World Bank has ranked Tanzania the 10th richest country in Africa by overall gross domestic product (GDP) based on the current exchange rate. Here now are the details of this and other stories making headlines across Africa.
Nigeria is currently the continent's largest economy, followed by South Africa and Egypt. However, Tanzania is not among the top 10 economies in the continent by overall GDP based on purchasing power parity. Although Tanzania, alongside Cote d'Ivoire and Rwanda, will ride high in growth, the situation will be slightly different for the continent. According to the UN, Africa's economic growth is expected to be impacted negatively by several factors in 2023. The growth is projected to fall from 4.1% registered last year to 3.8% this year. Exports will continue to fall, while elsewhere investors remain reluctant to take a risk with their money. While growth in 2023 is expected to increase for West Africa, it is expected to remain stable in East and Central Africa. North and Southern Africa, which have the largest economies in the continent, will see a fall in growth. These have been attributed to a major rise in global inflation, higher borrowing costs, as well as impact of climate change. Meanwhile, Rwanda plans to issue digital identity cards within 3 years to allow residents to use the documents stored in their phones and replace their current physical IDs. Rwanda signed a financing agreement for the $40 million for the execution of the digital ID system, but that the disbursement of the funds will be done after the law has been enacted to pave the way for the project implementation. The digital identification of people is among other key enablers of economic development and social transformation. Different from the current situation where a person is entitled to an ID card when they are aged at least 16, the bill provides that babies will also get digital IDs. Also, biometrics will be even collected from children aged 5 years. Finally, Zimbabwe will soon introduce a gold-backed digital currency meant to stabilize the local unit from its continued depreciation against the dollar. This will allow those holding small amounts of Zimbabwe dollar to exchange their money for digital tokens to store value and hedge against currency volatility. Last year, the South African country also introduced gold coins in a bid to mop up excess liquidity and stabilize the local units. Zimbabwe abandoned its currency in 2009, replacing it mainly with the US dollar after an episode of hyperinflation rendered the local money worthless. The Zimbabwe dollar was reintroduced in 2019 in a bid to revive the stagnating economy, but the government in June decided to make the greenback legal tender again to try and tame rampant price increase. Terry Njenga, Lunchtime News.
All right, before we get to the sports news, let's get back to news making headlines in the local scene. 300 persons living with disability in different parts of the country are set to benefit from prosthetics to aid their mobility, courtesy of the Narayan Seva Sansthan, the Hindu Council of Kenya, and the Vishwa Umia Foundation. The organizations on Sunday conducted a free mega artificial limbs measurement in Parklands, Nairobi, where the 300 beneficiaries officially embarked on their journey towards self-reliance.
Have you ever thought of how difficult it is for persons living with disabilities to make ends meet?
Judith Akinyi is among Kenya's population of 6 million people living with disabilities. Judith had her limb amputated in 2007 after developing a bone infection.
And it has made life easy because I managed to go to school, both primary, secondary school and university. And I also managed to do like everyday activities in life, which has been easier through the use of prosthesis or artificial limb. The difficulty that I normally encounter in life, maybe when it comes a time to change a prosthesis or maybe when it's broken down, they are very expensive. So changing a prosthesis has always become a challenge.
Scratches, hii wheelchair, kuna gloves, kuna socks, hiyo yote inabidi nitafute. Sasa hiyo njia ya kutafuta sina uwezo, ndio ningeomba kama yawezekana watu waangazie watu kama sisi ili tuweze kusaidika.
Just like Judith, many disabled people in the country are forced to depend on others for survival. However, orthopedics say life doesn't need to be this way because people like Judith can be assisted to gain mobility and empowered to fend for themselves.
These services should be available at the community level. They should be available at the nearest hospital, a sub-county hospital, the county hospitals. They should be having the service. But unfortunately, in Kenya, these services are not accessible. And this really puts the burden on the patients. And that's why most of them, after amputation, once they are discharged from hospital, they go back home and they don't get the device. And they lead a desperate life because they can't afford it.
Today, 300 people have been selected to benefit from free prosthetics in a program spearheaded by the Narayan Seva Samsthan, the Hindu Council of Kenya, and Vishwa Umia.
And after 3 months, these same doctors, we will manufacture this artificial limb in India, and they will come to the fix it exactly same size. And after the fixing, we have the experience. These people can be even the walk, even they can do any work, whatever they want.
To find solutions for young people as well as elderly people throughout this country, and to ensure that they make a positive impact on their lives within the context of providing these solutions.
We are trying to see how we can work together with the government to support these people in the long term, not only fixing the limbs, but what's the long-term support to these people. We are looking at the broader aspect of supporting these people.
The donors are calling on the government to do more in creating a conducive environment for persons living with disability to thrive. They are also calling on well-wishers to chip in and support programs aimed at training doctors on corrective surgery and other medical interventions for persons living with disability. Arnold.
All right, let's get to the fields and play. Lakeside Brothers emerged champions of inaugural Tony Sign Super Cup in an entertaining final played at the Woodley Grounds in Kibra. The tournament, which started in February this year, attracted 36 men as well as 10 women teams from Kajiado, Kiambu and Nairobi counties.
Lakeside Brothers emerged champions of the inaugural Tony Sine Super Cup. The team beat Santiago 4-2 in post-match penalties following a barren draw in regulation time. Tournament organizers called on the county government of Nairobi to help uplift the ground, which is paramount to talent development in the area, as well as curbing drug abuse among the youth, which was the aim of the tournament.
We've been engaging our boys and girls and educating them about the use of drugs, the use of alcohol. So we've achieved. I can say we've achieved. Yeah, we have over 30 boys and girls we took for rehabilitation, and now they've improved. They are off the drugs.
His sentiments were echoed by former presidential candidate George Wajakoya, who also reiterated on the need of both county and national governments to renovate the facility.
Where there is peace and where there is hope and where there is integrity coupled with hope, any hopeless situation can actually be a thing of the past. If you find men and women of this kind of magnitude coming up and saying, look, let us do what we can do, contribute what we can contribute to society so that we can elevate those young men and women like these kids here, then what else can we do?
Lakeside Brothers bagged 300,000 shillings while Santiago Queens thrashed Lakers Queens 5-1 in the women final to walk away with 50,000 shillings cash reward.
Manchester United will face rivals Manchester City in the FA Cup final match after beating Brighton 7-6 at Wembley Stadium. The results means United have reached their second domestic final of the season, having won the Carabao Cup in February.
Manchester United will play rivals Manchester City in the FA Cup final on 3rd of June after overcoming Brighton 7-6 on penalties. Both teams could not find a way to break the deadlock in the 120 minutes of action and had to settle the score on the spot.
So too was the challenge.
Both sets of players were perfect from the spot until Solly March blazed the 13 penalty over the bar, leaving Victor Lindelof with a chance to win it. The United defender struck his effort into the top corner to send Erik ten Hag's side through to the final, where they will play Manchester City. Manchester United will be going for a second trophy after winning the Carabao Cup in February, while Manchester City are still in contention to win the Premier League and Champions League.
For the very first time.
Giacomo Raspadori scored a late goal as Serie A leaders. The Poli beat Juventus 1-0 at the Allianz Stadium. Meanwhile, Olympique Marseille beat Lyon 2-1 in French Ligue 1.
Quadrado with the trickery.
Juventus lost their third consecutive league match. Meanwhile, Sevilla moved to the 12th position in the Spanish La Liga table standings after beating Villarreal 2-1 at the Ramon Sanchez Stadium.
All right, that marks the end of Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Thank you so much for your company. Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms. But that is not the end. Do log on to www.kbc.co.ke for more news making headlines, not only locally but also across the borders. My name is Irene Chuma Odem. On sign language interpretation is Brian Moraru. On behalf of the entire team, good afternoon.
Get out right now, or I will shoot you. This marriage won't take place. You two are not gonna get married.
But while this woman is still here, tell her to respect you. Because when I arrived, I saw her in a very compromising situation with another man. That guy that came to see you.
With Al-Hore?
Yes, Daddy. I saw them.
Well, Corina, I wish with all my heart that this mystery man of yours truly loves you just the way you deserve.
Oh, he loves me.
If I were you, I would do the impossible to find this document. Try it. It's good for you. Tell him I will. I'll look for it. I'll give it to him. And you, as my wife, you have to tell me the truth.
Oligario! Oligario! What's wrong? Oligario!
After the dust settled on rigorous campaigns, Kenyans are waiting for elected leaders to deliver on their pledges.
Have you used the hustler fund?
When your children sleep hungry, when you can borrow 500 or 1,000 shillings and they have some food on the table.
So the 500 you're giving me now is my purchasing power has literally been diminished comparing to probably even January or December.
But how have the leaders performed so far?
In terms of the amount of money that is being disbursed, the minimum being 500 shillings. How do you scorecard that?
No, that I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
I'll still give it 5 out of 5.
Every week, we bring you an honest assessment of the national and county governments.
What is the impact of the Hustlers Fund?
There are people who borrow, praying they don't have to pay back. For example, they pray that the owner dies.
The Scorecard. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Hello, you're watching Initiative Africa. My name is Asha Sampet. Welcome to your weekly magazine featuring Africa on the move through smart innovations and initiatives that work. In this new edition, we take you in the footsteps of the diaspora in France, but also in Canada with our guest. Let's get on with the show with our top stories today. Actor, director, screenwriter Eric Punawachi is an artist convinced of the potential of art and documentary to better understand the world. A child from the Central African diaspora who arrived in France at a very young age works in both fiction and documentary with a strong passion to share knowledge. Here's our guest of the day.
The authorities do not recognise the profession of filmmaker, so there are no schools and no courses, so most directors learn on the job.
The Afro Musée de Montréal has succeeded in a few years in establishing itself as a guarantor of knowledge of the history of Africa and its diaspora, an initiative to follow.
It's a museum that is really unique because we don't have any others like it in Montreal. Of course, we have a lot of history museums, but history about a community really makes the difference in the Montreal museum landscape.
In the Central African Republic, an NGO has decided to provide shoes to the whole country, an ambition that demonstrates the strength of the local community spirit.
When I was in Bangui, I often asked people to buy these shoes because they are very beautiful. They don't smell, no odors of the skins. They are just like machine-made shoes in big factories.
I'm now taking you to Canada for this first report. In Montreal, more precisely, a multicultural city where the African diaspora is very present. A relatively recent immigration which, according to official censuses, mainly concerns nationals of East and North Africa. To represent their history, that of the continent, but also to raise awareness against racism, a museum has been created. It is the Afro Musée. Our correspondent Jean-Baptiste Nyabienda visited this unique space, strongly supported by the African community on site. Let's find out.
Montreal, Quebec. The Afro Musée, a unique museum boasting the African culture, but also Africa, Africans themselves, as well as Afro-descendants across Canada, their cultures and living heritage. In this exceptional setting,